Welcome to another mini pod with Dave Jacobs. No fluff, just good stuff in under 5 minutes. One of my favorite movies of all time is Forrest Gump, and you probably remember this scene where Forrest visits Lieutenant Dan in the hospital. He's lost both of his legs, and there's such a dramatic scene, and Dan says to Forrest, "Now you listen to me. We all have a destiny. Nothing just happens. It's all part of a plan. I should have died out there with my men. But now, look, I'm nothing but a goddamn cripple. A legless freak. Look at me," he said. "Do you see that? Do you know what it's like to not be able to use your legs?" And Forrest said, "Yes, sir, I do." But Dan jumps right back in his face and said, "Did you hear what I said? You cheated me. I had a destiny. I was supposed to die in the field with honor. That was my destiny, and you cheated me out of it. You understand what I'm saying, Gump? This wasn't supposed to happen. Not to me. I had a destiny. I was Lieutenant Dan Tyler." And Forrest says, "You're still Lieutenant Dan." Hebrews 12:15 says, "Be careful lest anyone fall short of the grace of God, lest any root of bitterness springing up cause trouble, and by this many become defiled." Are you feeling angry or hurt or resentful because of a bad experience you've recently had in your church? Do you feel unjustly treated by people or maybe even by God? The writer of Hebrews says, "Be careful." And you know, that's pretty good advice. It doesn't shock me to find a pastor who's bitter. What surprises me is that I don't find more. If any occupation sets one up for bitterness, it's the pastorate. It's easy for us to either not recognize or to dismiss bitterness in our hearts. When you're wronged, when you're hurt or disappointed, the emotions that rise up seem justified, and oftentimes they are. But if those emotions are allowed to sit and percolate, they can result in bitterness. One of the meanings for the Greek word bitter means to stain. Left unchecked, our bitterness will leave its stain on our church, our family, our soul. Be careful. It's not easy to admit that we're bitter towards someone in our church, but it's even harder to admit that we're bitter towards God. God disappoints. There, I said it. God does not disappoint in the same way that we do. Our ability to disappoint others stems from our fallen, sinful nature, or theirs, or both. God disappoints us not because of any fault within himself, but because we bring into our relationship with him expectations which sometimes are fair and sometimes they're not. Be careful. Have you ever had the following expectation? I expected my church to grow. I expected to see the lost won to Christ. I expect my church to allow me to lead them. I expect my programs to work. I expect my people to love me and be nice. I expect people to stay instead of leave. When God doesn't make all these things happen, we can get disappointed with him. After all, aren't these things that he wants as well? When disappointment with God is not accepted, acknowledged, and addressed, it can evolve into bitterness. Bitterness with God is understandable, but still unacceptable. Be careful. Whether you're bitter towards someone in your church or God, be careful. The stain of bitterness will sabotage all you're trying to do and all that the Father wants to do in you and through you. Find someone to talk to. Don't let bitterness take root. Pull that weed out today. Be careful. You have a great week, and this is Dave Jacobs of Small Church Pastor. See you next time.